You're watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you are tuned into Small Business Network. And guess what? I am surrounded with not one, but two Ron Smiths in the house. Welcome, Ron Smith 1 and Ron Smith 2. Welcome to the show.
All right. Yes.
All right. So we're going to start with Ron Smith 1. Ron Smith, tell people who you are and what you do.
I am a local law enforcement individual. We run a nonprofit consortium that also features a for-profit arm, offering law enforcement protection and security for those who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford a kind of 24-hour protection. Municipal cops are not set up to do that very well. Mm-hmm. We've carved out a niche in seeking to protect women, children, members of the LGBTQ community who are victims of domestic and intimate partner violence. In the same vein, we also offer traditional security, armed security, not really interested in having bullet stops or door stops as human beings, but rather a higher level of a kind of officer-friendly approach to armed security for events where you may not want to, have a roughshod approach to protecting your event, but rather officer friendly, who can tell Uncle Willie the wino to mellow out and not get arrested. So with that in mind, we partnered up with a for-profit entity called Freelance Security, and the two companies, the nonprofit and the for-profit, then reach into the community to protect businesses and individuals and event security, and you name it, we do it. If it's a small business that doesn't want the local homeboys to hang out front, we're there to encourage them to move along. But we don't have to heavy hand the community. I grew up in the hood, so I know that that's traditionally a gathering place.
Right.
But you don't want to scare off the women and children who want to come and shop. So you encourage them to kind of move along without feeling like they're being harassed. And as I'm sure you know, in the community, most people just want to do good. My math is that 95% want to be good people.
Right.
5% want to be jerks. My caution is that you never know when I might be that guy in the 5%.
Right.
So I want to be careful to then be respectful to the people we meet along the way and assist them in feeling respected. That's the big push. As you know, there's been a great increase in firearm events in the country, and people are becoming super cautious, and some are afraid, and we're there to replace that comfort. If you want a low profile thing where guys are just at your event in their suits and they look like they're the ushers.
Exactly.
We just happen to be armed ushers. And if you want the full uniform thing, which is this, then we do that too.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this though. With what you're saying, piggybacking off of what you said about the crime rate, it's going up, and it's not. I feel like it's not going anywhere no time soon. So to do what you do is dangerous.
It can be, but here's the thing: crime is going down. Most people don't realize that because you hear about it. It's used to say in the news business, if it bleeds, it leads. And so that's the thing that they're pushing constantly because it gets eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
on the screen, and it gets repeated several times throughout the day. But if you watch the federal statistics, the curve is dramatically down, but you don't hear about that. And that's the thing that we want to get out in front of people. Hey, you can be safe,
Okay.
but if you have a concern, if you have a fear, then call this consortium to plug the hole, give you a greater sense of peace and comfort, and then not have to worry about some drive-by situation where someone's shooting up the neighborhood. You know,
Right.
we're there. On the nonprofit side, nobody is set up to offer full-time 24-hour protection for victims of domestic violence. Municipal cops are best equipped to respond when a crime has occurred
Mm-hmm.
or when there's a suspicion of a crime about to occur, and it's high enough rating that instead of having to triage the thing and go, well, it's not a murder, so we'll put that way down the list. They can't do it. We're set up to be there to prevent the situation and to stay with the potential victim and to tell that significant other, don't show up here. You'll be arrested. Go and live your life. Be happy somewhere else. And we found that formula works very well. That's the 95%.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever you ever been to a rhythm and blues concert,
Mm-hmm.
most of the people there, they just want to come and hang and have fun.
Yes.
And you get that small percentage who wants to be a jerk. Well, that's the guy you want to say, don't do that.
Right.
We once worked Pharrell's Something in the Water. And during the first one, we had 13 of the hotels along Atlantic Avenue. Are you familiar with the event?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so some of the guys during that same week, that was the week when all the fraternities used to come down to the beach and hang
Mhm.
out, where it was supposed to be 2 people to a room. And instead you had 6 guys shoving themselves in the room with a garbage bag full of weed.
Oh, wow.
and at those rates, right,
Mhm.
you figure the cost of the tickets, the cost of the hotel room, and add to that the cost of going to jail and the cost of bail. And, we just simply told the guys, you're going to ruin your weekend over this.
Yeah.
So why don't you pack up your stuff, not the weed, and be on your way?
Right. Right.
And that's been our experience in dealing with people in the Tidewater area. We have contracts in Portsmouth and Hampton and Norfolk, and expanding outwards to serve the full 7 cities.
Wow.
And
Let me ask you this then. Okay, so I'm still on the crime kick because I'm
Mhm.
single and by myself. A lot of times I'm leaving the studio by myself. It's
Mhm.
like in order to have a peace of mind, how does one protect themselves? Like for example, this area. When we leave out, we see people constantly walking up and down, up and down, up and
Mhm.
down. So, do you think we probably need security to make us feel good?
if I
Safe.
were taking advantage of the situation, I'd be marketing. Oh yeah, hire security, and we'll get out there with our guns and protect you. I teach traditional martial arts. I've been teaching it for over 60 years, and the greatest weapon is your mind. Have a defensive state of mind. Your parking lot is a little dark.
Mhm.
Put more lights on the lot. So when you walk out the door, are you aware of what the lot looks like?
Right.
Are you aware of your surroundings when you're going outside? Do you go out by yourself, or are these guys going out at the same time?
Right. Which we do practice the buddy system.
There you
So
go.
We do that.
Right. You should leave first. Not because you're the weaker sex, but because physically they have greater upper body strength. Right? So you
Mhm.
get in your car, you start your car, you drive off. It doesn't mean that they cannot get assaulted, but villains tend to look at, well, who's the weakest in the group?
Mhm.
That's the person I'm going to nominate to be the victim. So don't have a victim consciousness. That's what I would encourage people to do. Then if you need security, obviously call us,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Call our partner, Freelance Security. Have us come out and do an assessment and make a recommendation as to you want somebody on site during certain hours, of critical hours when you will be here at night, and you want to deter people from even thinking about it.
Mhm.
It's an amazing thing. A wise person with a sidearm can be a great deterrent against crime. I don't want to quote the old NRA thing, about, a good guy with a gun. No, just be aware. That's the biggest thing.
Oh,
And once you change that awareness, it makes all the difference in the world.
wow.
What
So-
transitioned, Ron? Tell us a little bit about your law enforcement background and particularly your officer training that you do now.
The best answer to that is I retired from the California State Assembly. Before that, I worked for a municipal police department. The transition, I finished law school and I took off one uniform, put on a shirt, tie, and walked across the street to City Hall. The state of mind in both levels was about the same. Be aware of who you're dealing with, right? There's many jerks that wear suits and ties, that wear Brooks Brothers as opposed to, Perry Ellis or whoever's the flavor of the month, as there are guys who are walking around with their pants around their behinds and so on.
Mhm.
It's not the clothing that makes the jerk. It's the jerk in the
The
clothing
clothes.
that makes the jerk. So you become aware, were you aware of bullies in high school?
Yes.
Of course. And then are you able to spot those same bullies now, even though they're wearing suits?
Yes.
And that becomes the awareness. That's what I try to encourage people. Be aware. And then if you want to learn some sense of defensive tactics, then we teach. I'm getting ready to put together a women's self-defense thing I live in a big complex in town center.
Mhm.
And so it struck me. I'm walking around the place. I was coming home in my uniform and, people see me in sidearm and then they're waving, hey, how you doing? I thought, you know what? Why not teach these people,
Mhm.
these women and kids, practical self-defense just for living in town center
Mhm.
and being aware? Isn't that what we learn in law enforcement?
Yes.
Situational awareness.
So your staff are certified in what type of weapons or self-defense, et cetera, et cetera.
I was fortunate when we founded the law enforcement side. Virginia had a special program called Special Conservator of the Peace, which is a law enforcement position sworn in by the circuit courts. So your jurisdiction expands. You're not restricted by municipal boundaries.
Right, the magistrate.
It's the magistrate that determines what your powers are. So I'm sworn in Hampton, then we got sworn in Chesapeake. We've applied in other municipalities. So our powers then follow that circuit court jurisdiction. The partners were all martial artists. And so we also then could teach defensive tactics, traditional martial arts, not that run up against the wall or, John Wick, great for the movies, get you hurt in real life, right? It afforded us the opportunity then to make sure that the people who were the core of our business knew defensive tactics, which is your mind being aware of dangerous situations and then preventing yourself from being exposed to the danger. We worked concert events, and some people would say, oh, if you're working for country and Western people, they just want to get drunk and start fights. No, they want to drink and dance to the music. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Boot scoot, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We did rhythm and blues concerts in Hampton Coliseum. Exact same state of mind. The New Age people, the worst thing that they were was they wore very skimpy outfits. So you really had to keep your focus. these are the human beings.
Mhm.
Address the person, right?
Mhm.
If people practice a safe state of mind and then a defensive awareness, situational awareness, most of the time they can be safe. And then practice, you want to learn good firearms mentality,
Mhm.
take a class. Go practice once a month at least.
So most of your guys are DCJS qualified.
All of our guys are DCJS qualified. They have to work for us. You know, there's a level in the industry where people strap on a sidearm and then they wear a shirt that says security and it's against the law. We don't do that. So you get certified, then you come work for us. Our demand is for the two businesses, you have to have 3 to 5 years of experience. You must be certified. Then you have to give me references. Then we check out your references. Then we train you how we want you to think.
Mhm.
Then you stick with us. We move you towards very slowly that law enforcement position. And then we're able to kind of fulfill the second part of our mission, which is to provide that 24-hour security for the victims.
Wow.
You know,
So-
that's
so-
our end goal.
So how many S-Cops do you have on staff?
5 now we're pushing towards, but that's out of 20 guys who are armed security. The SCOP is the top of the food chain. And I'm trying to even get that expanded by presenting documentation to Governor Youngkin that, for instance, in the last 10 years, there have been 4 disciplinary events involving SCOPs, criminal. How many municipal or county law enforcement agencies can say that? I mean, that's across Virginia
Mhm.
completely. The position has existed for over 200 years. So, and these are people who are invested in the community, right? So those are the guys you want to have protecting,
Exactly. Exactly.
your local communities. They retire as cops. The potential is then to reach out and appoint them as special conservators and then put them right back in their own communities serving these potential victims.
Mhm.
So if I need your service, how would I contact you?
Well, you can call me directly. You can go to the website. We have 2 websites. There's Freelance Security, which is the for-profit side, or 24/7-law enforcement, which is the nonprofit side. Either way, we're both licensed by DCJS, the Department of Criminal Justice Services, to provide security. I tell people, if you hire the for-profit side, you're actually contributing to the nonprofit side. If you hire the nonprofit side, it's the same thing. We freely work together to bring guys into the security side of the business, fitting our model. You saw Beverly Hills Cop,
Mhm.
right? We're not the Eddie Murphy character. We're the Beverly Hills Cops approach to dealing with the public. But most people, like I said, a smile, a calm and friendly voice, and people will tend to do what they know what's right.
Mhm.
And every now and then you get that 1%. No matter what you say to them, you're going to have to go, okay, meet my friend, Mr. Concrete. Let's hook you up and give you a better place to spend the night.
Oh, wow.
But in all the years, including martial arts, I've never had to pull a firearm on somebody in fear or anger, not once. I've never had to punch some guy in the face to get him to comply. Most people just want to, please, can I go about my business peacefully? Yeah, sure. Do what you want. You just can't do it here.
Yeah.
And most people will just go along with the program.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back after these messages. We're going to take a break, I promise you.
I'm used to TV.
tuned in. You haven't tuned in too late. You tuned in to SKST Radio, and we are sharing some vital information with Ron Smith. And then we have our Ron Smith here as well. They're both in law enforcement, so I thought this would be a good hookup. And man, I'm enjoying it. I feel safe already. I'm learning a whole lot.
Good.
And so, I'm thinking at this point, you mentioned that you were going to be having classes.
Yes.
I think that's something we might need to bring to the forefront. I am in a position where I'm the marketing person where I work, and that might be something that we probably can offer to the public and see if this works for you.
Most assuredly.
And then get them to where you want to get them to.
I run classes at the Jewish Community Center. They made it possible for us with COVID and everything to make use of their facility. We teach kids from their private school there.
Mm-hmm.
We have classes offered to the public, and they have a huge gymnasium, and they have a great facility room along with 2 studios upstairs. I mean, it's like heaven with no overhead. Right? So,
Love it.
so, we have taught self-defense classes for women, for instance, in the past, where we'll do a 2 to 4 hour seminar, and then we guarantee that the public can come back for a follow-up,
Mhm.
just a refresher to keep their skills up. As you know, with law enforcement, they teach you to go shoot, and then you're lucky if you go back in a year to recertify, right? Whereas the smart thing is be taught and then go back every month and recertify. That's our approach to defensive tactics, as also with self-defense. Learn the techniques. I don't want you to be John Wick. John Wick is not John Wick.
Right. He's a script.
He's a script, right? And the guys who are real martial artists in the movies, they practice constantly just to make it look like that.
Mhm.
They're really good guys like Jackie Chan. Spend 60, 70 years of constant practice to get to a point then to make it look like it's easy. Nobody
Right.
sees behind the scenes
Right.
of how many takes that a person has to do, because the human body has limitations to it.
Mhm.
Mistakes happen, or somebody will miss a cue or get hit by accident. He has broken almost every bone in his body.
Yeah, I heard
So-
that. And he does his own stunts. So yeah, absolutely.
exactly. So instead, if I teach you how not to get punched in the face, and then I encourage you to practice that without getting stressed out, I become Mr. Miyagi to you.
Mhm.
And then you don't feel stressed. Instead, just block. Don't be there. Don't stick around if you're able to defend yourself quickly. Get in
Yes.
your car and cry on your way home.
Yeah.
Get in your
Get
car.
out of town. Exactly.
And the same thing, the body reacts naturally to stress and fear. You would agree with that, right?
Yes.
A lot of people have a false understanding that, if I feel nervous, there's something wrong with me. No, it's your body trying to protect you. It's giving you a shot of adrenaline saying, don't stand here.
Ooh.
I tell my students, don't block with your face. Get out of the way. Move, protect yourself, and repeat the necessary tactics early. That's what I'd like to pass on to the community.
Mhm.
And I have high-ranking martial artists that work with us that will come in, do a seminar. We charge a reasonable fee, and then we allow them to come back and repeat,
Mhm.
refresh, as the phrase. And that way, they start to get an understanding. Self-defense is not gymnastics.
Right.
Self-defense is learn some basic techniques and practice them often. You ever see the movie Enough?
Yes.
Do you remember what he drilled in her? When you're down on the ground and you think you've had it, you've had enough, that's when you
Mhm.
toughen yourself up,
Mhm.
and then that's when it counts.
Yeah.
You defend
The final
yourself.
straw. Yeah.
It's the same thing in any good self-defense class. Out of that, a lot of times students will come back and go, I want to train more, or I want to bring my kids. I like that this is a non-stress environment. I teach the students, here's my badge. I want you to learn how to be safe. And being safe is use your mind,
Mhm.
right? My partner in the consortium, Vernon Clifton, he's a security officer over at the courthouse. He has the exact same state of mind. Be safe. You know, and we'll share and discuss all the time. Somebody comes into the courthouse and they don't belong there and it's after hours. Do you just punch them in the face and throw them to the ground? He goes, no. You try to talk people out of,
yeah.
why are you here? We're closed.
Yeah.
Please leave the premises.
Exactly.
And my experience with Virginia Beach cops, Norfolk police, Portsmouth police, Hampton police, it's been consistently the same. They want to do what's right by the citizens
Right.
and help them to accomplish whatever it is that has caused them to, be in an awkward situation.
Right.
Every now and then you got to do something,
Yeah, exactly.
right? But for the most part, help people develop that weapon,
Yeah.
be smart.
So do you think you're going to seem like you got, how many employees do you guys have?
Like I said, we've got 15 to 20.
15 to 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
between the two operations. And we're placing them in the several contracts that we presently have. We're always looking for
I was about to
for
say.
people.
Yeah.
And all they've got to do is satisfy the requirements for the Department of Criminal Justice Services. That's the portion of the Commonwealth of Virginia that certifies security,
Mhm.
right? If they've got 3 to 5 years experience, they can look online, freelance security, if they want to contact Chief Clifton,
Mhm.
or 24/7 law enforcement services, which is me. I'm the chief, the head of that operation. Either way, they're going to end up talking to the same two guys,
Right.
right? As you saw us as the twins, right? And then we're always experiencing openings. We're always pushing for new contracts and to expand our footprint, at the same time pushing to get ourselves prepared to reach the proper federal funding,
Mhm.
which is the Department of Justice has an office that deals specifically with violence against women.
Mhm.
And that's where we want our funding to come from, which then sets us free, because we want to offer that free to the victims.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's
wonderful.
then I can go to the great dojo in the sky and be happy that I've accomplished my mission,
Exactly.
which is to do
exactly.
service in the community.
Yeah. Well, I fell in love with you guys when I first met you. It was kind of like, wow, I love what you guys are doing. I love the mission. I love the fact that, you do have the for-profit and the nonprofit and they're working together, because that's how it works, right?
That's how it should work.
That's how
That's
it
how
should
it-
work.
see?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it should work.
Exactly. And so I'm thinking that we're going to see more of you.
I hope so.
And hopefully we can help and kind of extend our what we have, our resources, to kind of help get the word out there. for you.
That's my hope, and I like the idea if there is some way that we can touch women
Mhm.
by offering them defensive classes of some sort. Feel free. I mean, you've got my direct number. Feel free to reach out to me, and we give all the professional discounts possible because we are a nonprofit.
Exactly.
And through that nonprofit, we're able to offer the classes a lot cheaper than what a commercial operation would have to do.
Yeah, I love it. So tell people again how to get in contact with you.
You reach out, freelancesecurity.com. That's the for-profit side, or 24/7 Law Enforcement Services, Inc., which is the nonprofit side. If you contact my phone number, which I'm sure you can pop it up there at some point, I'll answer. If you get the number off of, and did we give you a copy of the brochure?
You did.
So you have both numbers on the brochure and the emails and all that.
Mhm.
Freelance's email is 757freelance@gmail.com. So if you reach him through that email, you've actually contacted me also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if you're interested in self-defense classes, then spiritfightingarts.com.
Okay.
That's our
Love
Yes.
it. Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know this is like, I don't know, I'm having like a great night. I'm surrounded by two Rons, I mean, who could get this lucky, And so,
You should play the lottery.
right? Actually, we did at work. We did a pool today at work.
Odds.
So, and I saw my birthday on there a whole bunch of times. So, I don't know, guys.
There you go.
I'm feeling lucky. And so, but anyway, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Ron.
I really appreciate it.
And I'm sure this one wants you on his show as well.
Let me know.
No, I really wanted to talk to his daughter,
Oh.
who's in finance.
Make sure I give you that contact information before I leave out.
Absolutely.
And then I'll let her know to look out for you reaching out to her. Okay.
All right. And then we'll invite you guys back. So hopefully we can get your partner with you next time. And
He wanted me to pass on to you. We had a person that had the flu, so he had to go work in that person's stead at one of the contracts. But he said, let you know, hey, he wants to sit down and do a show and the whole thing.
well, he's welcome, more than welcome. Like I told you, I'm here for you guys. So
Okay, I appreciate it.
make it happen. And I want to thank my engineer today, Mr. Arthur. He engineered us. We're in Studio A, guys. If you didn't know, you'd never see this studio. Like I was telling Ron, we all have our own studios that we
Yes.
like. And this one is more of our radio station. And so we don't really come in here that often. But DJ T Nice is like, go to Studio A. So we are in Studio A. So we're here. So you guys, SKST Radio, until next week, right here. Bye for now.